G'day people, today I wanna inspire you guys to make your own drum samples, do some sound designing, starting off by using raw samples. In this case I'm not gonna like make it from scratch, because it might take hours, it's gonna be a long video. So I already like sculpted these guys, which you might have heard in like the introduction video before this one. So I'll quickly do a little overview, show you guys the settings, show you what I've done and why I done it, and take you through the process behind it. And I'll start with this snare. Let me get a reverb of it, which is in the auxiliary of the mixer. Let's get the rec in the screen. Here you are. So yeah, channel 4 on the redrum is my snare sound. The original one is quite different, as you can hear now. I'll just bypass all these little devices. So yeah, as you can see and probably hear as well, I started off with quite a bit of compression. What I like to do is, when I completely change things up, is just basically chuck all the rules out of the window. We've all probably watched a lot of mixing videos, and they always like cater towards acoustic mixing, and they most of the time they sort of advise you to stay subtle, especially about EQ and compression and everything. But in this case, I'm planning and I want to completely change things up, so I'm chucking all the rules out the window. So that's why I got this amount of compression on it. As you can hear, it brings out the background noises. It's a lot more snap to it. It's more in your face, and it gives me a nice starting point. And from there on, just keep on sculpting bit by bit. Next thing is this EQ. Boosted the low end to get more like a punching drum and bass type of snare thing going. Took down the ringiness on the high end, because you can hear it's too much resonance in there. Next thing I did was add this polar. I don't know what happened, because this, when I did this like probably a couple of months ago, I think I like loaded in this analog drifter patch and just messed around with the settings, and then just left myself with this low pass filter. This low pass filter probably has a different algorithm like the PMS20 or this little guy here, so I just leave it in here, and to me it sounds good, so that's why. Next thing, distortion. I absolutely adore distortion, because you can completely change things up, as you can hear. You can like utterly trash things, and then just keep on sculpting from that point on. As you can see, it's on the modulation, the ring modulator settings. It's on the low frequency settings. It's a bit of 3-band EQing in here, and that's pretty much it. At this point it sounds trashed and shitty. You can probably see it as well. It's completely flat, and the whole frequency spectrum, tonality is gone, definition is gone. In the mix it will sound horrible, I guess, unless you go for some real weird fucking trashy stuff. But I added this second compressor. Can you hear how it sort of clears things up? It brings out a new coloration, and it sort of sculpts a completely new transient. So you get sort of a weird snappy thing at first. It sounds like a layered snare or whatever, and you get the mid-end graininess at the end. So it's like completely changed, and it's unusual, and I like to go for the unusual, especially with these kind of tracks. Next up, a low pass filter with a bit of resonance. And the thing here is the resonance sort of does the trick. Look now, it's just dull, Well, with the resonance, it's almost perfect. It's just a nice and subtle snare, but still it's snappy and it has a nice bit of presence. Last thing, this little EQ here. These Quasi EQs, I can really recommend them. They're really good. They got like fixed frequency ranges, and at first I was like, I want to be more precise and everything, but they're really good, man. They had a lot of coloration when boosting things. As you can see, I boosted almost on every dial here. Low shelved the low end off, below 150. I don't know what the slope on it is. I think it's like 8 to 12 dB slope. But you just sort of get rid of all the low end information because you don't really need it. And the focus will sort of more lie on like this bit here. And the low end here, like 180, that's where all the punch is. So that's why I like boosted it in here. The low pass filter. Hardly noticeable, but so yeah. Let me get the snare back in the mix and then show you the reverb settings, sort of. First thing I did is use a plate because I really love like the big whole reverb settings, but you can't like have it on every source. So on snares and that sort of stuff, I usually start off with nice plate reverb. In the mix, it's really subtle, as far as you can call it a mix now, because it's still in the rough production phase. But it's sort of like rough, mix things in a rough way while in the phase of production. And let's go back to it later. This is how it sounds on solo. It's less subtle than it sounds now. Which makes a lot of sense because there's quite a bit of things going on in terms of audio spectrum. It's not too many channels, but still. And then lastly, a hull reverb. See how like brings forth the presence of the snare, like its tonality and its character, but adds a really nice depth to it as well, like fades out into the distance. Gives you a nice ambient and spacious feel to it. So yeah, let me get these kicks and the rest back in. So yeah, this is my little overview of this little snare here. I hope this will give you guys a little bit of insight and inspiration how to like do things. I really advise you just go and experiment and just make weird sounding stuff at first and just keep on going. I mean, like what I did with this distortion here. Like it sounded really trashy, but I just left it for some reason and I slapped on the compressor and I think I sort of knew what was gonna happen, so that's why. But I think I'm just saying here, just go for weird settings, just keep on going, and maybe after like the end of the chain you're like nah, this is still not what I wanted. You can just go back and change the distortion while leaving the compressor, you know. Just keep on going for hours and hours and you'll learn a lot about sound sculpting and everything, you know. And this will give you more like knowledge about things, and this will really help your production, you know. So yeah, next video it's gonna be like a part 2. I'm gonna go over these kicks here, little trio, and hope you guys see you in that one. Like, subscribe, give a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.